What up, everybody? Welcome to a special edition of 90 Minutes on Film. We are doing Oppenheimer versus Killer of the Flower Moon.
Yes.
I am Wacko. We have C.E. Garcia.
Hello.
And, of course, the one and only Gabe, who houses at the moon. Woof.
The flower moon.
Absolutely, I do every night.
Oh, yeah.
Except tonight, he's kind of tired.
Oh, yeah.
Except tonight.
Kind of buzzed.
Hey, that Soda Jerk, our sponsor here.
There
Yeah,
you,
makes lots of
Yeah, man.
Hey, you can't be jerking around with
No,
that.
no,
man.
no. 70 proof.
That's
Pour,
right.
shoot, repeat.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Mhm.
All right, man. I just want to get into this, guys.
Yeah.
You know, this,
Gabe felt that this needed to happen.
so this was a Gabe thing.
Well, we
Is
wanted
that
to
what
do.
we're doing? Are we giving credit to Gabe?
So we did the 30-minute special edition on Killers of the Flower Moon. And Gabe was
Absolutely.
like, Chris, we need to do a full episode. And I was like, and then a couple people hit me up. They're like, hey, are you guys going to do Killers of the Flower Moon? I'm like, we're working on it. Got to get everybody to go see it. It's
Yeah.
tough. It's a long movie.
Yes.
And then they're like, what did you think about Oppenheimer versus that one? I was like, it's a good idea. And I told Gabe, I was like, hey, we should probably do a second one.
Yeah, but I wanted to give Killers of the Flower Moon, I wanted to give it its own space on its own.
Yeah, you wanted to let it breathe.
Yes, let it breathe.
Yes.
And then we can talk about some of the, because these are probably the two biggest movies of the year.
Yeah.
At least at this point, right now.
As of right now,
Because
right?
is Napoleon dropping this year?
Wait.
Napoleon comes out in 2 weeks.
Okay.
And
So then, no, Napoleon's going to be another one.
that one is like up there on Rotten Tomatoes, like 96 or something
Yeah.
like that.
So Napoleon's going to be the other one.
Yeah.
And
But who?
Ferrari
Ferrari,
comes out
yeah.
on December 22nd.
Yeah.
But I, from what I was hearing about Ferrari, I mean, it's probably just a filler. I
Oh,
think.
that's blasphemy.
You think
Michael.
so? You haven't seen the film,
It's Michael Mann, bro.
of
Come on,
course.
dude.
And Adam Driver.
Of course.
And Adam Driver.
Yeah.
And Adam Driver knows how to deliver an Italian accent.
But is he really driving?
I think, but did Ferrari drive? He drove until he got hurt, right? And then he built
I
the
think
cars.
so. Something like that.
We're gonna find out.
I did see on social media there's some issues with like some of the car crashes or something.
Yeah, I saw that too.
It's-
And Driver was
popular.
like, "I don't fucking know." He's like, "Don't
Yeah.
ask me" or something.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. Whatever Michael Mann does, I'm gonna watch
Hey.
that shit.
Of course you are.
All right.
Yeah. Michael Mann would just
making heat
Never
over
mind,
and
I'm
over and
thinking,
over
yeah.
again.
Hey, that's his next movie. He too
There you
yeah.
go.
Oh, yeah. That is true, though. That
with
is
Adam
true.
Driver.
Oh shit. Okay.
That would be interesting.
All right.
Yeah, he's
So-
supposed to be Neil McCauley.
Okay.
Oh,
That's
Whoa.
like Scorsese's Leo or Scorsese's De
Everybody's
Niro.
gotta get one,
yeah.
bro.
Everybody's got to
So you
get
think
a guy.
you think Driver's gonna be his Leo?
I like Adam Driver because I said in the past, like you forget that that's Adam Driver when he does a role, versus a lot of people are like, oh, that's just so and so acting like this character. Adam Driver,
Yeah.
like you forget that guy embodies
Other
whoever
than
he's
Kylo.
doing. Other than Kylo Ren, yeah.
Yeah. Because that was.
That one you're like, I know that is a Star Wars character.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no, that's the wrong movie.
All right. Well, let's moving on.
Yeah.
Can I say something real quick?
Sure.
though?
Yeah, because
Just
I
to
know you
maybe
got something.
Set the tone.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so between both, I don't know if there's also cinematography in the other one. So then okay, cool. I'll save that one for later.
Yeah, we kind of I threw together some
So
quick
can we
categories.
can we incorporate? Well,
We can with this. So these are talking points. Let's go wherever we get to, and let's just see what happens.
so the difference between the two,
Mhm.
and I want to put the storytelling aspect and the cinematography aspect of this.
Okay.
I feel as though that the storytelling between the two, I would give it to Flower,
Okay.
and the cinematography aspect of it, I would give it to Oppenheimer.
Okay.
I love the way that it was shot for Oppenheimer, and obviously one of the key things that gives those extra brownie points is the practical effects
Yeah.
with that, and
Mhm.
how
Yes.
it was done was wow, right?
Mhm.
And then there were certain shots, and I was talking to Moses about this earlier, like when
For Killers of the Flower Moon.
no Oppenheimer, I'm
Uh-huh.
still Oppenheimer for cinematography wise, like the shot where he was I forgot, like in the forest or something like that. I can't remember. And his wife comes over and was just talking
So, like, get it together when
get
he's
it
crying.
together. Just the way that how it was shot, like the mood, you
Mhm.
know, the framing of it.
Mhm.
Like there was a lot of that in that film that just really I enjoyed, and it really helped a lot with the storytelling.
And
But-
that cinematographer has become like the king of IMAX lenses. So like that guy knows how to work an IMAX camera.
Yes, absolutely. As for Flower of the Moon, I felt though that the way it was shot, it was good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that one or the other is shit from it. I'm just putting
just the style, the
I'm just putting like, hey, I'm gonna give this one a little bit more of a nudge in this category compared to this one. For the storytelling aspect of it, I felt though that Flower of the Moon had more of that storytelling type thing because the characters, I mean, to be honest, there was like more than just one story being told in there. You had, from the FBI, you had obviously
Molly's perspective,
Ernest, like there was a lot just jam packed into this whole thing. Where Oppenheimer, I mean, it's just the bomb, and I was more about the bomb. When you really think about it,
So I think with Oppenheimer, it's just like telling like Gabe's life story. You know what I'm saying? Like there's going to be there's aspects of that are really exciting that you want to know about, and then a lot of it's just like day to day. He's just doing stuff, he's going to work. And I think with Oppenheimer, like he did some very big things in his life, and there's very big moments that they chose to highlight, but how he highlighted the more boring aspects, like that's why the time is flipped.
Yeah.
In Oppenheimer, they got to keep it moving, got to keep it creative versus Killers of the Flower Moon. It's literally a novel. Like you're literally reading that book
and
as
that's
it goes.
why I feel as though that
they delivered more.
They delivered more from a storytelling aspect of it. But as far as it being shot, and then you brought up another great point, being able to visually help the story by showing the different time frames.
Yeah, like they had to keep it creative.
Yes, so that's my point on that.
I think a lot of it too has to contribute to the skill of the screenwriter. And we talked about this in our last podcast. Eric Roth, who wrote Killers of the Flower Moon with Scorsese, tons and tons and tons of blockbuster films. And then you got Christopher Nolan, who wrote Oppenheimer, who, I mean, he's probably did like 10 films, Some people don't like the writing, some people like the writing, I think a lot of it has to do the way that Eric Roth delivered the story on Killers of the Flower Moon. Anything, Gabe?
I feel like you got character development out of Killers of the Flower Moon versus Oppenheimer. Great movie, cinematography wise. I think it was a little bit better, but the characters were just there. Like you didn't know, like some of these doctors that were involved, they weren't developed into anything.
They're just there. They're window dressing.
They are, and you're supposed to know who they are. Right, and you just grab them and you throw them into the movie, and like you're supposed to know who Oppenheimer is. You're supposed to know who the Matt Damon character is. You're supposed to know who his wife is. Versus like in Killers of the Flower Moon, you actually developed like those characters.
You knew who they were
exactly, but then you start to find out that Ernest is an idiot, right? And and King Hale is he's manipulating everything and mastermind.
Yeah.
Versus on the other side, you don't get that.
Yeah, because with Oppenheimer, I do remember like watching it the second time, and the first time I didn't know who was the rat or the turncoat at the end that was working for, that was the British guy that was working for the Germans. Like I didn't catch it the first time around, so I had to like ask my daughter, like, who was that? Like it's almost you had to like write everybody's names down to kind of see what their point was in the story because they were going to come up later. Versus Killers of the Flower Moon, it's like you get to know every single one of those people, and you get to, and your stomach turns when you find out in court that Ernest's brother shot or set up the sister to get shot in the head. And Molly doesn't know it, and he's still driving her around. And your stomach is turning because you're like, fuck, because she was in the hospital. She wasn't at court that day when they testified. Hearing that his brother was like the accomplice in setting up the sister. So you're like, ugh. But yes.
So even on that note there, like, how do you guys feel, though, that the two films, because like how you were bringing up some points, the characters in Oppenheimer were supposed to understand who's who, what scientist is, and so forth like that. But depiction of the historic events that are happening in both films. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I think for myself, like on both sides of the film, when you're thinking about the historical events, I was like agitated to a certain extent. the aftermath of what happened with what Oppenheimer and his team created, knowing what happened in Japan, and then how the United States treated him, it angers, it agitates you. It's the same thing with when I think about the Osage people and how they were treated, and even after wealth, how many of the Osage people were still oppressed, and so you kind of out of both movies
Still today.
Yeah, still today. You walk out of those movies feeling like I felt a little bit of anger and a little bit of agitation on both sides, on both of it. Yeah.
I mean, I felt bad. I mean, I guess you could say like historically, the bomb had an impact on the world, and it still does to this day. And in Killers of the Flower Moon, like this event had an impact on those people, and still does to this day. Versus in Oppenheimer, you feel bad for him as a person because he was used.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Killers of the Flower Moon, you feel bad for Molly because all of this shit happened. Yeah. But I don't know. That's kind of, I know they probably took liberties with some of the stories, to make it more dramatic. Definitely Oppenheimer did, because that is a very dramatic film. Like I just think Killers of the Flower Moon was more. Fuck, it's hard to say, man. It was more real because and I'm pretty sure you can relate to this too, when Tom White tells him that his daughter died.
Yeah.
Like that scream that he gives out.
Bro.
Dude, broke me twice. Yeah. I was like, oh my God. And then he's on the ground and I know he's a guy that doesn't have kids in real life.
Yeah.
But he was pulling that off.
Yeah.
So that moment hit me there. And then in Oppenheimer, I just felt bad at the end. I felt fucking depressed. I was like, God, they fucking used this guy. And even at the end, he was still happy for what they gave him with that fucking medal.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sonia and I had some discussions about the movie when we left. When we left Killers of the Flower Moon, there was some real emotional pull. I don't know if it's relatable to being Hispanic and myself. I've been told, I haven't researched it, that I have some sort of Native American blood in my background as well. But if there's some sort of pull that way and we empathize with that a little bit more versus we didn't have those same discussions
with Oppenheimer.
Yeah. And so I
think that's family and culture.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe
it's probably because Killers of the Flower Moon is more about family, and because we know what it's like for. Yeah. I mean, probably a lot of our listeners too. Like they know what it's like to be. I'm sure at some point in most of our listeners' lives, and everybody in this room, they said like, "Go back to your country." You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So like, there is a chord that gets struck with that.
Yeah.
Versus like an Oppenheimer, like, well, we've all been used in the past.
Yes.
Right.
We feel that emotional level, but it is more personal when it's about like, well, fuck, I'm from here. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys kicked me off of my land.
Yeah.
And like, that's what they did to these people continuously.
Sure.
Yes.
And they just happened to put them on the richest land in the nation.
And it backfired.
And it fucking backfired.
They took advantage of it too. Yeah. They really did for that time.
King, I think it was King that said that God, what do you say? I think it was a line, I don't know where, God punished or God.
He punished those people?
When he says it gave them the land, when we put them on this land, like God like laughed at us or something like that.
Yeah, because he put them like on the richest land or whatever.
Land or something like that, right? Yeah. Any standout moments between each of these films for you guys, whether it's something cinematic, anything performance-wise? I think we've conversated about for both of these before, right?
Yeah, I have a couple of them.
I just felt like Oppenheimer focused more like on spectacle and large set pieces. The bomb, the town that they were building. And Killers was more reliant on the performances and the characters.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and emotion.
And emotion, and then, but that being said, Oppenheimer, it solely rests on the shoulders of Cillian Murphy. Mm-hmm. Like he's that whole movie, and then Killers of the Flower Moon, it's a very ensemble cast, like how we said before.
But I feel like even in Oppenheimer, though, both in Killers and in Oppenheimer, there was no wasted castings at all.
No, everybody's
like everybody played a part. Even though I know Cillian Murphy did carry Oppenheimer versus like you were talking about the ensemble cast that happened, but we talked about when we watched Killers of the Flower Moon, like those background characters, like they were all impactful whenever they came up. And I do feel kind of the same way that some of those background characters were also impactful in leading.
Oppenheimer.
Yeah, in Oppenheimer as well.
Yeah, I mean, because what do we say? Like one of the strongest performances in Oppenheimer is Josh Hartnett.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And you're like, where the fuck did
Yeah,
that
where
guy
did-
come
where did
from?
he come from? Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, where you been hiding, bro?
I haven't
Like,
seen him since Hollywood Homicide.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
something, you know, so yeah, man. But standout moments, performance-wise, I got to go with Lily Gladstone on the
Mhm.
movie.
mhm.
That scream that she has after her
Dog,
sister
you're killing me
dies
right
from
now,
the
dude.
bombing. Oh my god! Like it's just, that really got me.
But like how you said, push and pull. Like not only that, just the look. He doesn't even say nothing to
No,
her.
he
just shakes his head,
and she's like, boom.
and it's like everybody's
Ah.
experienced that in the hospital.
Yeah.
something
yeah,
where they can't tell you, they cannot convey the words on what just happened.
yeah,
But
But
dude,
you just know.
you just fucking know.
Yeah.
And I have experienced that many times.
Yeah,
where it's just like, yo, and then you just
You're like,
give
you
you
don't,
a
you
look,
can't, you
and
can't
you're
tell
just
you.
like,
Yeah,
fuck.
you can't say something. Yeah,
Yeah.
I still go back to Emily Blunt too, and the way she is. I think she's
She's
a
fucking
standout
bitch
performance as
until
well.
she's like, get up.
Exactly. Get up and be a man. And
yeah.
go fucking do your
Basically.
job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what she gives them. Yeah.
Like kill those Japanese people.
Fuck. I mean, that's one way of putting it.
Right.
What change? What change would you guys make to either of the films? Is there anything that you maybe would, whether you would just like add to it or just?
I
maybe
feel like
pull
the pace of Killers of the Flower Moon. It's not like I looked at my watch and I was like, oh shit, we're already 2 hours in, right? And I know it's a
Big
3.5
mistake. You
hour
shouldn't have
movie.
done that.
No, but I mean, it wasn't. I didn't feel like the pace was bad. I just felt like it was slow, like it was a slow burn. But
I felt like I was living in Oklahoma in that
absolutely,
time.
absolutely though. But you're into the movie, and I'm like, I was totally engaged and everything, and I never lost interest. I never went like, I think I'm
hurry
falling
up.
asleep or
Yeah.
like this thing's gonna hurry up. I didn't have any of that, but I felt like kind of like we talked about one of the other podcasts when Jesse what's his name?
Tom White.
Yeah, when Tom White comes onto the screen, everything picks up. If we could have got that not on the last third, but maybe about halfway through, I think it would have been a little bit better that way.
Okay.
All right, yeah, I can see that. It just kind of bring in that. That's basically the third act, right?
Yeah, technically it's the third act. Yeah.
Technically, in a sense, because that's the whole FBI perspective to the whole.
Right when they show up to kind of say
and then
the
you
day,
could,
yes
yeah,
or
and
no.
then now they start breaking down.
Mhm.
You know,
Like the
whole-
they're doing all the
the
aha,
whole
they're doing all the
thing.
Scooby Doo moments. The aha.
there you go, the Scooby Doo moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so you're saying that would bring in the Scooby Doo moment a little bit
A
more,
little bit sooner. Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think if they did that, it probably would have changed the pace a lot more on that
Yeah.
film on Flower. And I agree with you. I mean, I think both of them, which I was shocked, was that I didn't get tired. And a guy who don't sleep much.
Yeah.
I was in.
Yeah.
Like I was like totally in, and then just and I never left.
Yeah.
Until
That's true.
once it ended, I was just like, oh wow.
And
then
then
it's just what I have to say though. I think maybe Oppenheimer, I could tell the length of it and where I was at. As to Flower, I knew that it was going to be the time frame of what it was.
Mhm.
I didn't feel it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh shit, it's already ended.
You're invested.
Yeah,
Yeah.
invested.
Yeah.
What about you, Chris?
I said the same thing. Elaborate more on the involvement of Tom White and the rest of the bureau in Fairfax.
Mhm.
So spoilers again. If you haven't watched Killers of the Flower Moon, turn it off.
You suck.
That
Just kidding. Sorry.
See it in the
Keep
theater
listening to
for
it.
sure.
that bookend radio show in the 50s.
Yeah.
Was genius.
Absolutely. Yes.
And I was up until that point. I was like, how are they going to end this?
Mhm.
Like, what are they going to do to end this movie?
Yeah.
And that bookend was so Scorsese.
Yeah.
And it completely blew me away.
Yeah.
And then again, spoilers. Scorsese comes out and does the final narration.
Yes.
And then you get the dance, the ceremony at the end.
Mm-hmm.
All beautiful moments. Key. I love it. But I think you could have ended where she's like, what did you put in my shot?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't answer. And she leaves.
Mm-hmm.
And he just looks at Tom White. They could have went black screen, credits.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
I agree with you. You know what?
although those moments were good afterwards.
when that part came out, it I was like,
where you're like, whoa.
I was like, wait, whoa, what the fuck is he doing here with this shit? And I was like, all right, cool,
Very
I liked
creative.
it. creative and stuff. But I felt that didn't have to be there. Because then it was
blasphemy.
It's just like it's seen a bunch of and I'm not trying to, I don't know how to sound with this, and
Like artsy.
no, it's just, you're in a stage in a bunch of weddles, and they're fucking telling this fucking story. And I'm like, fuck, we went right back to what the fuck it was instead.
I get you.
I was like, well, that fucking sucked. Like, we were invested into this whole thing, and you're paying homage to these people and telling a story.
So if it would have been like
what you said, I like that.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to incorporate, like, what would have been dope? How about this? It ended where she walked out, and then he just looks, and it turns black on that scene.
Yeah.
That's when Molly walks out, and then all of a sudden you just hear, doo, 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 and then it goes to the cut where the ceremony in that drone crane. I'm not quite sure what he utilized.
Drone, I don't know.
And as it's it's pulling away, right?
Yeah.
Then that's where we could hear, like, maybe even the narrations of, like, what happened to everybody, or even text of what happened to people. That could have been. I didn't have to see
all the white people
telling a fucking story and then mocking it with the whole radio version of everything.
This is yes, I like. That was kind. But I mean, I kind of get what they're saying, but maybe if they would have done like, it was like a ceremony, or maybe it was her funeral and they were telling the story of like what happened.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
How shitty was it?
I saw it from an art perspective, and I was like, all right, cool, creatively. But for this film, to me, I was like, nah, man, Martin, like that wasn't the way to go. I didn't like that.
It sucks that King Hale. I didn't talk about them in the last podcast, but he died like after her. She died before. She died like in 37. And he died in 47, so he lived 10 years longer than she did.
That sucks.
And that's how it usually is, man. It's crazy. Always a motherfucker.
I have a question for you guys.
Uh-oh.
So I feel like over the last couple of movies, Marty has been trying to shoot these epic films. And I wonder, do they really hit the mark? Like, is Flowers of Killer Moon, is it on par with like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or Braveheart, or Saving Private Ryan, or Titanic, or Ben-Hur? Like, is it on that level?
This is me speaking though, but I feel those films, when they came out, the era they came out, even how technology has changed, like they just have this certain stamp in my brain, and it's I don't want to sound old school, but the reality is, motherfuckers, when we're all get old, you're gonna say the same shit. You're gonna be in those shoes where you're like, oh, but back in my days.
Yeah.
So just putting that out there for all you youngsters. Those films, like, they just have a different impact to me.
Stand the test.
Sure.
Yes, compared to now. I think, I'm not saying what Marty puts out there right now is garbage or nothing, or it's not up to that caliber. But I just feel, though, is that I think what Marty's putting out there, he's just putting his like last of his last, because this guy's starting to reach an age.
He's only got one left. He said he's retiring after the next one.
Really? Okay. All right. I get what you're saying.
I mean, that's just me. I don't know if this all makes sense, of how I'm trying to explain it, though. But I think maybe for me, Marty's like last film that really was just like right in there would be. Oh, that's a hard question to ask myself.
I'm going to go over the.
Yeah,
I'm going to go over his last few.
It's almost, to me, it's almost like maybe it was Wolf of Wall Street. That was 2013.
Yeah.
Because after that, you kind of get Great Gatsby.
No.
A few others.
Well, let's go to the list.
Okay, so we'll go Killers of the Flower Moon. Is what he just did.
Backwards, right?
Yeah, well, so we'll go in reverse, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So he just did Killers of the Flower Moon.
Uh-huh.
And then right before that, he did The Irishman.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, he did Silence.
Mm.
And then before that, he did The Wolf of Wall Street.
Uh-huh.
Before that, he did Hugo.
Okay.
And then it was Shutter Island, The Departed, The Aviator, Gangs of New York, Bringing Out the Dead, Kundun, Casino, Age of Innocence, which you guys haven't seen it. No. It's a great movie.
Yeah, you were telling us about that.
Cape Fear, Goodfellas, Last Temptation of Christ, Color of Money, After Hours, King of Comedy, Raging Bull, New York, Taxi Driver.
So I would
Mean Streets.
So I would say like there's a gap before Wolf,
Mm-hmm.
and Wolf would be like that last one.
Yeah.
Well, I look at it as like he was just like, so he did The Departed. So The Aviator is pure Scorsese.
Yeah.
And it seems like he's like dabbling in what's going on now. But then he did The Departed, which is pure Scorsese. And I think after that, he started to like, let me kind of dabble a little. Let me do like a Hitchcockian movie, which was Shutter Island, you know, and he starts doing music videos. He does Boardwalk Empire. He does a documentary. Then he does Hugo, which is all CG 3D.
Yeah.
And then he's like, okay, let me try something even different, improv with Wolf of Wall Street. And then again, he goes back, he does Vinyl for HBO. I didn't watch that one.
No.
Yeah.
Silence.
He only directed the first episode. He helped create it, but
yeah, he's like producer.
but he directed the first episode.
But then The Irishman, it's like, I think that's like grown up Scorsese.
It is grown up.
It is grown up. Yeah, but I mean, Irishman was good, but it wasn't like the best for me.
It wasn't epic. Like
No.
I didn't feel like that's.
I didn't walk
Sacrilegious,
out.
gentlemen. Sacrilegious.
So
Here we go. This guy can never just let us speak, huh?
Yeah.
No, I love him. I mean, I think this one is going to be up there, but I think this one's going to need to marinate for a little bit. So we'll see. Let's revisit it.
I've seen it twice and I've enjoyed it both times. I'll be honest, but I don't know if it's on a level. A staple level.
So that being said, what about Oppenheimer?
I think it's kind of up there, but maybe still kind of the same thing. Like I do feel like it's a great movie for this year, but is it the movie of the decade?
No.
Oh no.
I just feel that movies now, maybe I don't know. It's just because how things changed, but I just feel that movies now don't really hit me as hard as they used to.
Well, that's because now you're bombarded. You got Netflix, you got Amazon Prime, you got Apple,
maybe
got
watching it in the car.
Maybe that's what it
Maybe
is.
that's part of it.
Maybe that's part of it.
Because how hard was it for you to get to the theater to go see it? Like it
took me a mission.
And you take all those fucking streaming services away. You're like, I gotta get to the fucking theaters. I have to watch this movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like, I never considered not watching this movie in theaters. Never, ever. Like, and then watching, I'm like, God, I could never watch this at home.
No, for sure, I agree. Like watching both of these films, like was a must to see in a theater.
Fuck yeah,
a must. And it was regardless of how long it took me to get there. I had to get. Just now, it's just because my personal life and everything I do, it's difficult for me just to do certain things.
I just think we're just bombarded with so much like stuff, and I told you guys this like this week. The Killer, David Fincher's The Killer just came out, and it just pissed me off that shit was not in theaters.
Yeah.
Like wide release. And I watched it on my projector at home.
Yeah.
And I was watching, I'm like, fuck, this should have been in a fucking theater. God damn, this should have been in a fucking theater.
Was there a reason why it wasn't on theater? It's just
Netflix.
It's a Netflix movie.
Yeah.
It was out for like a week, but it was only like in LA and New York.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, you could have invited us over, Chris, and we would all make.
I know.
Had that movie theater experience.
Yeah, shit around here. Well, all right. Well, between the two, I mean, who did it better?
Yes. So we got a couple categories.
Okay.
All right. So cinematography. I already said what I felt.
You went for Oppenheimer over Killers of the Flower Moon?
Yeah, I got to go with that as well.
What about you?
Same thing. I picked Hoyte Van Hoytema.
Score.
Oof.
That's tough. It's very, very close.
Yeah.
So Ludwig sets a fucking standard with Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
But you take that score out of Killers of the Flower Moon, and I don't know who could have done it. So like Robbie Robertson really does it for me. Like that shit, it kept it moving. Like I found myself the whole time, I'm watching it, I'm listening to it, and maybe a part starts to slow down, and I'm bobbing my head because I can hear the blues.
You hear it in the background.
Yeah, you got the blues, and it's that bass guitar and that guitar. I'm like, all right, I'm here.
That first drops when it's the train. That was like very hip hop-ish.
Yeah, and it's like the heartbeat.
Yeah.
It's literally hypnotizing you.
Yeah,
because you're just like there.
It had a hip hop urban feel. I hate using the word urban, but it's
like that old school blues.
It is.
Yeah.
It was just like, all right, that was cool. However, though,
going with Ludwig,
because it was literally a bomb, fucking blowing up.
Just hearing the score, you want to cry just listening to the music.
Yeah. I got to go with Oppenheimer on it as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, screenplay.
I chose Eric Roth.
I did too. Eric Roth.
Obviously. I mean,
Yeah.
I already said my piece already on that. So
Yeah. This last one, it was tough for me. Oscar predictions. Who's getting what and why are they getting it?
So I don't know.
Can we go through anything here?
I mean, I'm still going with Lily Gladstone for Best Actress.
Yeah, because I don't think
I'm going with Emily Blunt for Best
But we're just going
Supporting
between
Actress.
these two, right?
Yeah, just between these two.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I mean,
Because
you
we
know.
don't really know what
I
they're
think
really
these-
going up against.
My
Yeah.
prediction is this year these two are gonna go head to head.
Yeah.
I could be wrong because I've been fucking super wrong before, and Oscars has fucked me so many times that they didn't pick any movie.
But the way the Oscars has been the past years, I mean,
well, especially since COVID, it's been just weird.
no, not even just that. Even prior before that, like in the categories and what films are in, and you're like, what the fuck is this?
I
being
think
in
Marty
here?
may get the nom and may get the win because he's so old and it's been a minute since he's got anything.
Mm.
I think he may get a nom and the win. You know,
Who, Marty?
Marty.
There's a lot because The Departed was Departed, right? Right? Yeah, it was Departed that he got.
Jump
for.
into my
I think that was the one that he got the Oscar. That was the one that was just
he got
given.
one Oscar win,
Yeah, that was Departed, wasn't
and it was Departed. Yes.
Yeah, that was just because.
Do you think he deserved
give it a
for
Marty?
The Departed?
Just give it a Marty. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was. What did they call that? It was the.
Constellation.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't call it that, but that's what we call it.
We'll call it that. But there's a term for that, like and I think they did the same thing with Leo.
Yeah. I mean, they gave him The Revenant, and I thought he should have won for Wolf of Wall Street, but
right,
which
I think, with
The Revenant came out the next year.
He did. Shit, it was like a one man show type thing.
Yeah, he's only one for The Departed.
Yeah, see.
So I think he might get a nom and a win for this one. That's me because of his age. I think he did a good
movie.
movie.
That's what I'm talking about.
So maybe a consolation Oscar. Does he deserve it? I say yes.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that Leo's going to get nominated?
I think he's going to get nominated.
Yes.
I don't think he's going to win.
No, he's not
going
to win.
Do you think Killian's
No.
going to get nominated?
Yes. And he would win over him.
Right now, I think he's sitting high and mighty, but that depends with the Phoenix.
Oh,
yeah, Napoleon.
Yes.
Yep. Because now once
and you know what? That's
Napoleon
going to piss me off, dude.
Now it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
Because that shit just looks like a rock and roll biopic about Napoleon.
It kind of, just the way
But they did the same thing with Gladiator and they fucking took it like that year.
So that's just because the way they cut it and how they're projecting through the trailer.
And, Napoleon was French and Joaquin Phoenix does not have a French accent in that fucking trailer or movie.
He doesn't. No.
But let's see.
But we don't know. We don't know. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay, we're deleting one movie from existence, gentlemen. What are we deleting?
Out of these two?
Yeah.
Ooh.
So basically, we're doing is
you can decline from answering because I think I might decline, but because it is Oppenheimer versus Killers of the Flower Moon.
All right. So before we do that,
yes,
Oppenheimer versus Killers. Which movie are you picking?
Who gets the slap? Who gets the Will Smith slap?
Who gets slapped out of here?
Yeah. Who's the Chris Rock?
This is just me.
Oh, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
You know it's me. You know who I am. So I'm gonna say Nolan's gonna get the slap, and I'm gonna give it to Marty.
So Marty would be Marty's Will Smith, huh?
Because I have more time. I have more time with Marty my whole life.
Yeah,
and I still got another 10, 20 years to go with Christopher Nolan, and he's still in the beginning of his career. Like it or not, he's still got years more to impress the shit out of us. And I know he's going to. Unless he goes into these stupid ass 007 movies that they keep talking about.
And I think that might happen. But that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
Though, but I don't want to go into that. But because I'm kind of like I'm kind of intrigued with it, to be honest. But hold on. But if I'm picking
just one,
the slap.
Yeah, who's getting slapped and who's the slappy?
I'm giving Oppenheimer's Chris Rock, and I'm gonna say Marty. Yeah, that's
Will Smith.
Is Will Smith.
Ooh, I'm on the opposite of both of you guys.
Yeah.
I think it goes to Oppenheimer this year, and unfortunately, even though I really love Killers of the Flower Moon, I feel like Oppenheimer's just a little bit better.
Okay.
I mean, regardless, let's say these two do go head to head. We're gonna be fucking happy.
Oh yeah, either one I'm gonna be good with.
Yeah. Unless
they get fucking snubbed.
And they get snubbed, which is so common.
If they snub Lily Gladstone.
And then Barbie comes in and sneaks through.
Oh, you know what, guys?
Right.
So, I mean, as of right now, best movies of the year, Across the Spider-Verse, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, The Killer, and Barbie is up there.
Nah, Barbie should not belong up there.
And I think we're going to get Ferrari and Napoleon are going to be up there also, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Although I do want to see a couple of the movies that are coming up for the end of the year.
I don't want to see Barbie up in there.
It's going to happen, bro.
Yeah, well, of course, it's just,
You
just
gotta-
for the whole push. behind
Ryan
it.
Gosling, mark my words, is going to get an Academy Award
If
for
he-
that song. I'm telling you guys.
It's going to be
gonna
him
happen.
with that, him with supporting actor for sure. And then if the Oscar puts in fucking Barbie for fucking film,
But no matter what happens, let's say it does get nominated and Killers is up there and Oppenheimer, and they give it to Oppenheimer or Killers of the Flower Moon, and Barbie doesn't get it, it's going to be this whole thing. And then they give it to Barbie, it's going to be this whole thing because they didn't give it to the other two. You know what I mean?
so but what the reality is, do you really think that Barbie should get it?
I think it definitely deserves to be a contender. It definitely does.
Well, that's not my
watched
question.
it. I watched it, and
But I told you right now, like I would give it to Marty just because I have more time with Marty.
yeah,
You know, that's me.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
I enjoyed Barbie, but I don't think it's one of the top movies of the year.
No, it's not. It's not.
It's
I
very
disagree.
enjoyable. And
It's
it
just
has a pretty
entertainment.
good
That film was just
movie.
entertainment for me.
Yeah,
man.
there's
For you guys.
for
Yeah.
entertainment. Yes,
It was entertainment for
So
me.
there's a deeper rooted meaning in that film.
Yes, it was about men.
No,
It was
about
us being Ken enough. That was
No.
the whole
well, yeah,
thing.
that's a portion
It
of
was-
it.
Can I be Ken enough?
That's
Yeah.
a
It was
portion of
about men finding themselves and being able to go ahead and be happy for who you are.
That's true. That is a portion of it. But there's a lot. It's a very deep seated movie that can
And
be
then
seen
it's
from
about
multiple.
women finding themselves and just not, downplaying them, who they are and following what they want to do and be what they want to be, but making sure you go to the gynecologist.
Dun dun.
Yep. And we'll go ahead.
All right. Hey, there we go.
But yeah, this was a cool one. I think it was good that we kind of put a head to head. We should do more of these. I'm gonna for sure watch Flower one more time, but
Yeah, it's a must.
it's a must. But maybe depending on my time frame, it might be until they put in a stream. So
Coming out soon.
Yeah, I
Put it
think
on
the
Apple
which is
December.
it? Which is it's bad. See, but that's the thing though. It's gonna go on Apple TV, and I don't have the Apple TV.
I have
Ooh.
Apple because I have a trial for a little while.
I actually like it.
Yeah. Oh, are you watching
Yeah.
anything?
I watch the shows on there.
Do you watch Invasion?
I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, it's
No.
first season, beautiful. And you watch that show, I'm like, they fucking shot this in IMAX.
Hmm.
Season 2 happens, I don't know what, it fucking falls apart.
Hmm.
And then I watched Silo and Lizzie's story,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm just trying to get everything in before my
I watched the Idris Elba
oh yeah, the
stuff. And then,
How long is the trial?
3 months.
All right, maybe I'll do a trial just to get in real quick. All right, guys, make sure you follow us on all our social media platforms.
Yeah.
90 Minutes on Film. That's
Give us a
90
review,
numbers,
too.
MINS. Yes, please let us know how we're doing. Give a thumbs up, review. Tell
Yeah.
us we suck.
That
We're
puts
funny.
us-
We're not funny.
At
I don't
least
know.
If you review us, that puts us up in the it lets everybody know who we are, and like it puts them in
Please.
their what do they call it, in their rotation, and they're recommended for podcasts. So
Yes. Please help us out if you can do that. And then if you do that, we'll send you $1.
Mm-hmm.
Moses will send you $1.
Yeah.
Moses will send you $1. Don't forget, too, to check out these other guys' podcasts, which Chris,
Dogs, Fiction, and Brown for Tarantino fans.
okay, and Gabe.
Fairway Conversations for the Weekend Warrior Golfer.
All right. And we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Peace.
Late.
Peace.
I can't change. I won't do